Recently, mega writer, producer, and director J.J. Abrams signed a huge deal with Warner Media. We know he's a huge Superman fan, and he'll be developing exclusive content for Warner Brothers. So we have to ask the question, can J.J. Abrams save Superman? Hey guys, thanks for tuning in to Comic Book Nostalgia. I'm CB Nostalgia, and today we're going to dive into J.J. Abrams' new deal and how it might impact the future of Superman. Now, if you didn't know, last week J.J. Abrams, along with his production company Bad Robot and Warner Brothers, officially joined forces. They signed a huge 5-year deal worth reported over $500 million. Now, this deal covers film, television, digital content, music, games, consumer products, and theme parks. A pretty big list. And the general expectation is Abrams will be going after some of Warner Media's deep library of intellectual property, which begs the question, will he be picking out his favorite superhero, Superman? Now, throughout his career, Abrams has toggled back and forth between reinvigorating brands that have been lying dormant for years, such as Mission Impossible, Star Wars, or Star Trek, and he's also created quite a few original creations on the silver screen, including Super 8 and Cloverfield, and none of this touches any of the stuff he did on TV. But there has been one title that he's chased and has eluded him all these years, and that's The Man of Steel. Now, if you didn't know, Abrams had a previous script for Superman. It was called Superman Flyby, and way back in 2002, Warner Brothers considered doing a reboot. And these were the days where Christopher Reeve was still Superman to nearly everybody. So it appears Warner Brothers held out to the 2006 Superman Returns, which tried to progress that story a little further. We all know how that turned out. With Abrams now in the WB fold, pretty likely he has pick of the litter when it comes to their studio's intellectual property. Nobody said anything official. It seems pretty reasonable that he may circle back to Superman once again. Now, if you've been following Superman at Warner Brothers for a while, you know it's been a bumpy road. There have been reports that they're not going to focus on the Superman character anymore and instead move to Supergirl, with continuous rumors that Henry Cavill is out as Superman. Now, most of this can't be substantiated, but we do know the current iteration of Superman has not reached the heights that Christopher Reeve's version did back in the 70s. There have been some recent bumpy roads when it comes to the box office numbers for Superman 2. Superman Returns cost almost $300 million, $270 to be exact, while earning just about $391 million worldwide, and it barely crossed the $200 million mark domestically. It was the 6th highest grossing domestic movie of that year, and if you look at those numbers, it barely made a nickel. Because of this, WB decided to shelve the property rather than greenlight a sequel to Bryan Singer's film. This is what led us to 2013's Man of Steel, which also polarized a lot of fans and didn't quite live up to the box office expectations. Now, it had a more manageable budget of about $225 million before marketing, and it was absolutely profitable at about $688. However, expectations were not met. It was generally thought it would hover around $1 billion because of Iron Man 3, Hunger Games catching fire, and to be honest, Monsters University being released the next week. It never really made that mark. When Henry Cavill's Superman came back in Batman vs. Superman in 2016, it did turn a nice profit, but the movie was hugely expensive, and it suffered from a huge drop on that second weekend, which brought us to Justice League, where the studio lost somewhere between $50 and $100 million, and we got Mustache Gate. So, can J.J. Abrams reverse this downward spiral? Well, his track history seems to indicate he can. Although Mission Impossible 3 did not do very well, both of his Star Trek movies were considered big financial wins. But his crown jewel has to be the $2 billion payday from Star Wars The Force Awakens. Next year's Rise of Skywalker undoubtedly will reach 10 figures again. This will put another big mark of success on Abrams' career. Most people will argue the biggest problem with Superman right now is that the Truth, Justice, and American Way motto simply does not work with contemporary audiences. But clearly, that's not true. Chris Evans' Captain America has pretty much embodied the character in its most purest form, retained all of Captain America's traditional morality and ethics, and managed to show how the world changed around him, not the world changed him. This is the kind of Superman we need. A Superman film that can throw around the classic Christopher Reeve's all-shucks charm and work in the complex sensibility of today's issues will absolutely work. Now, we have no official word on whether Abrams will even work on this character, but it's hard to believe that he won't. He has a past with the character, and Warner Brothers needs Superman to be a big intellectual property for them. J.J. Abrams has a pretty unique skill set for this job. His ability to reboot and reinvigorate franchises is the key to success here. Abrams has dropped the ball on occasion, but recently the box office has favored him, and it seems with a new path that Warner Brothers has taken in dealing with their superhero properties, he may very well be an excellent fit for the character. I suspect in the next 60 to 90 days, we'll start getting project announcements for Abrams' new position, and then we'll know more details. Superman is a character like none other, and definitely should be treated as such. He should be the flagship of the DC Films universe, and I think that's something that Abrams might be able to make happen, given the right care, time, budget, and tone that Superman requires to connect with audiences. And let's be real, I think people want Henry Cavill back. He was never fired, he was never let go, and there's never been an announcement that he wasn't Superman anymore. Warner Brothers just said they're not planning on any Superman movies in the near future, and bringing J.J. Abrams on could absolutely change that plan. Tell me what you think in the comments below. If you like this video, make sure you press like, click subscribe, and if you don't ring that bell, you won't get any updates. Peace.